are watching, joining us right now. For those of you who are just tuning in, we're having an in-depth conversation tonight, and we're asking everyone to dialogue with us, give us your questions, send us your feedback. We're going to talk about it. We encourage you. It's all right to disagree, but don't be disrespectful. And the question that we have on the floor right now that we're talking about, with all the protests and everything, emotions people are feeling, what is the root cause? What is the root cause? Why are we protesting? And Patrick and Aaron and Trayvon has give us a great launching pad for conversation. So Matt, Brandon, man, we were talking earlier behind the scenes, and I kind of like those conversations because we can't really, we can, but we don't really go into it like we want to in front of everybody. But like, so what's your thoughts, man? I know you had a few hours to kind of play PlayStation and eat pizza and like. So what are your container thoughts?
Man, so I did see somebody say it's a buildup, and that's so true. Like people are upset. Like when the reason we're protesting is because we're upset. Like when you have been treated poorly by people who are supposed to treat you to protect you, that's frustrating. When I have to worry about there's so much about being black in being in America, and when I have to worry about, am I wearing the right thing to go into this place? Uh, when I talk, I feel like I represent. I have the back. I have everybody in my race on my back when I go into a room, and that gets frustrating because you're constantly having to think about the lens that people are looking at you through, and so then this piles up. There's so many layers to it. All that you have to go through on a regular occurrence of being black, being overlooked for a job because of your color, all these things. And then you add on police brutality, right? You add on people who are unarmed getting killed. When I watch somebody who actually killed someone be taken in, and able to face trial. So it's frustrating because I'm constantly having to see black people killed at a rate that is way too high, considering the amount of us that are here as a minority. And a traffic stop should not be, I shouldn't be scared that I'm about to die at a traffic stop for speeding or for not using. I mean, and I said this, and I'm gonna try. I'll be done after I said it, but I got pulled over 3 times in a 6-month period, and all of them, I didn't get a ticket any of the times I was pulled over. Every one of them was just. The first time I got pulled over was for not using turn signal and pulling out of a parking lot. And I said, okay, you pulled me over. But when I got pulled over, the gentleman looked at me and said, he took my courtesy card. He couldn't believe I had a courtesy card. And then he made me get out of the car so I'd be away from my wife to tell him the truth like I was lying. And the next time I got pulled over is because I had my turn signal on and I didn't turn. I want y'all to catch that. I had my turn signal on. I didn't turn. He pulled me over. And I'm over here scared thinking what might happen from this. And then the last time I got pulled over is because the officer said, it looks like you got fresh damage on your car. From that, he brought 3 other cop cars to help him, to back him up while my wife is sitting next to me sick. So, we're upset with the treatment that we've received from people that are supposed to protect us. And I think somebody said it earlier. It's like they're on a fishing spree. They're fishing, trying to find something. And they constantly are looking at us, stop and frisk, all these things. You think about how many things are geared towards trying to get us into prisons. And so we're frustrated, we're upset, And when you feel like you don't have any more options, or you feel like you feel hopeless, you've been told you're nothing your whole life, and you feel hopeless, you don't feel like you have any, you don't feel like you can achieve anything greater, what do you do? And that's why we are at this point. You have some people that feel like they have options, so they protest. You have some people who feel like they have no options, so they go crazy and just lash out, right? And do that. And then you have some people who say, I got all the options in the world, I got all the power, like Pat said, and they go to their congressman and they go to all these different things. So I think that we're just in a place, people are frustrated, they're upset, and that's what has us here. And I'm upset. Trayvon didn't ask me how I was doing today. He just went straight to Sherman. No, I'm
Don't
just,
be
I
asking.
did, I did.
This is what I'm talking about.
But but man, look, I'm upset, I'm frustrated for a number of reasons. But I think that's what just has us in this position. And lastly, man, I just went way over it, but I'm mad. uh, the insensitive rhetoric, right? That fuels fire and doesn't put it out. This is not a time for gasoline. This is a time for us to put fire out. And so leadership, politicians who are insensitive in their rhetoric, really are another reason why we are where we are right now. That's my whole thing for the night. I'm done. The whole night. Don't.
Can I say, Brandon, I didn't know some of that stuff that you just shared with us about being pulled. Was that all in New York about you being pulled over those 3 times?
New Jersey.
In New Jersey? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I understand. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now so I have a question, and I guess it can be a legitimate question. Well, yeah, it is a legitimate question. So my question is, and I know now. Hold on, wait, because this thing just upset. It really upset me when you begin to talk about that. And I guess it's because it's a personal thing. A lot of people will say you really don't know how it feels until it's somebody that you're close with or somebody in your family. You know what I mean? And so to hear that, it's upsetting. But here's my question. Is there a possibility that some of this stuff could be a result of bad policing and bad police training, more so than just, not more so, okay, is it that this can be a result of bad training and preparation, more so, I will say that, more so than just a racial issue and divide? Not saying the racial issue doesn't exist, but moreover, I'm talking about the police brutality piece, not the racism altogether, but the issue where we see police, you know what I'm saying, targeting Black men and women. Would y'all say that's an issue there? Are police being subliminally trained to, you know what I'm saying, to target?
Okay, all right. So to me, that's more of a police cultural issue.
Yeah,
You got to realize this has been going on for years, right? Beyond the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
beyond the 20s, right? Like where police have been. So if you get a person who's a fourth, fifth, or generation police officer, they've learned bad habits, right? And police have this code, which most people do, and it's almost like a gang code that if they cover for each other.
Yeah.
So we saw that clearly in the video where the officer had his knee on his neck, and other guys said nothing. They said absolutely nothing. And that's something that, again, it's not a one of those training issues, because of course, like, they're telling you that this is how it should be, this is how it should be, and da 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 da. When you have people who already have this notion in their mind and they're already stereotypical. Brandon and I had a conversation about a hairstyle he used to have, and we talked about that earlier. But when people are stereotypical, stereotype things in their mind, they automatically assume, like, and the worst thing that I hate, that is a abused police tactic, is this phrase, probable cause.
Yes. Yes.
Right. I never forget, and you guys remember this car I had. I had a black Mercedes, black on black, and the windows were tinted. And I never forget,
I
I
don't
got
remember.
pulled over. You remember, I got pulled over in Fayetteville. Were you with me that night, Pat?
I think you had dropped me off.
Okay,
from my
yeah,
car.
I got pulled over, and the reason I got pulled over because it was night, and he said, it looked like your windows are too dark. Let me get my gun. And he tested my windows, and they weren't dark. And so he's looking. That was his quote unquote probable cause. So they'll use small things in order to try to find big things, or make something that's not there, you know. And I mean, it's one of those things, man, where it takes a body of people knowing their rights and knowing what can and can't be done, and speaking up about it. And I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it at that. And I'm gonna read some of these comments. Hold on. Did y'all see some?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to I think we
Well, let me say this while you do that. I think one of the issues with police officers, not all, but more so the ones that have the negative connotations and the negative mindset, is the fact that they know that there are policies and procedures in place to protect them. That is the main issue. They know, like with probable cause, there are laws and procedures that are in place that's going to protect them. No, so that's what we really got to focus on changing and getting together, is these laws and procedures, policies that protect them in cases like this.
Right.
Prime example, even with Mr. Floyd, if there would have been no video camera, the officer would have switched that whole story to make it fit him, because he know the law is on his side. So that is the issue that we need to deal with, because again, and this is where a lot of people fail prey at their hands, because we're not educated on the laws and procedures. We're not educated on our rights. We're not educated on the fact that, you know, we too busy looking at Criminal Minds and CSI and all that. That ain't real life.
That ain't real.
You gotta get in real. You gotta get in real life, and you gotta know.
But
is actually protecting them, which gives them the room to do what they want to do.
But Pat, here's the thing, and this is why someone like me can say this, and I'm on the sort of on the other side of the tracks now. Growing up, looking at my mom, her as a single mom.
I just realized your name is still Usher Board President. Can you please?
No, I'm not changing it. I'm ushering in the people. I'm ushering in
Sherman,
Let him usher in the conversation.
Sherman, I think he's jealous because you're the president of the Usher Board. You know how folks.
Oh, and I'm just the usher.
Higher title. He wanted that position, Sherman. He wanted to be the president of the Usher Board.
I'm gonna fix it right now. Hold on.
Oh no! Go ahead. Keep it, Sherman.
Vice president. All caps in that vice.
That could have been a lot worse.
Could you make him president, please? Could you make him president, please?
No, I'm not going. Go ahead, Sherman. Finish what you were saying, man.
I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna read like a few comments and stuff. But Pat, to your I totally agree and totally understand. But now, like I was saying, kind of being on the other side of things now, looking at my mom, being a single mother, trying to take care of her family and her children. In her mind, it was about, how I'm gonna pay this light bill, how I'm gonna keep rent going. And so a lot of that, you almost kind of, it's almost like it's a horrible system, because people who are under a certain tax bracket don't have that luxury to pay attention to who's in the seat or who's in office or things like that. And I know people are like we need to get Trump out of office because my money ain't been right. Well, 9 times out of 10, your money wasn't right when Obama was in office. It's really not one of those things that's going to change overnight, and a lot of people are unaware of laws, not because they don't want to, but it's just so many other things that are preoccupying them. And I'm gonna say this: we gotta find a way where we can balance it, because it's not until we understand laws and start to influence how laws are made that our lifestyles will begin to change. So, but
So that's the distraction in the Black community.
Go ahead, B.
Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is, I think one of the other issues is that there are racial bias workshops, undoing racism, different things of that nature. I think that we should all take that seriously. And I don't think enough people take those courses. And even I'm excited to be taking one soon. I'm definitely going to do it because I just think that we need to take it serious about our bias that we have toward our racial bias. And that's what happens. I don't, some of it's bad, police and different things of that nature, but sometimes it's just you have, you don't realize, because we all know folk, I got Black friends. Okay, you got Black friends, but there's still some things that you have racial bias that you have to deal with. And so until it's like in your face and you realize, oh, I thought like this. I think that that's something that it makes us more sensitive to how we treat one another when we think on those terms. I think that's something that is really important.
All right, let me hit some of these comments.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Jock Nixon says, but my question is, why is it only when a person of different color does something to us, it's an outrage, but we are quiet when it's a gang shooting or Black women going to get abortion? Why are we outraged in the same way we are now? We have to acknowledge our issues first before we talk about others.
I would not say that we are not outraged. I wouldn't say that. I would say people are now more vocal, and the volume has been magnified now because it's happening at the hands of the people we're supposed to trust the most. If I'm going through a situation, I am not going to call. If I'm going through a criminal situation, somebody breaking in my house, I'm not going to call Joe Blow down the street. I'm going to call the officer. Mm-hmm. And my expectation is not that when I call him, guns be pulled on me and my life be taken. George Floyd's expectation was not to go to the store and first of all be judged by the fact that they think he has a fake $20 bill. Number one, that's where it all started at. And not only to go through that, but now to have an officer to come that he knew. I mean, they say they worked together for 17 years, and now you lose your life over the. So I think people are outraged now because these are people that are supposed to do what? Protect and serve. So protect and serve don't mean you protect yourself, serve yourself, and kill me. So I wouldn't say that we're not vocal. I would just say the volume is magnified, and it is now it's now an American issue. But that's just my little piece.
Yeah, and I think we have to be careful because sometimes we can use that saying, although it sounds good, we can use that saying as a distraction from what we are focusing on right now. Because the truth of the matter is, when we don't have these type of outrage, a lot of people are still not speaking about gang violence. A lot of people still not speaking about abortions. And then we also, on the other hand, have to be careful that we don't overlook the people who are fighting every day about Black on Black crime. And even here in Raleigh, we have some churches who are out every other weekend shutting down abortion clinics and stuff.
Exactly.
So I think that we have to look at the situation for the situation. We do that a lot in church. So that's probably a churchy comment, but we do that a lot in church. When somebody say something about a certain sin, then we say, but what about that? That's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about this. So I think we have to really stay focused on what we're focusing on at that present time.
Yeah.
I think that's a good comment, Junior, Mac. But I want to say this. I kind of, I'm on that side where Jock is, wherein, I'm one of those individuals who say, let's deal with the issue at hand. Before we deal with let's make sure that we have not overlooked the centerfold. Let's make sure we have not overlooked what we have an issue with. Now, I will say this. I do understand.
I'm not laughing at you, Trayvon. I'm sorry. Let me make that be known. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Raekwon and his comments.
Raekwon going in. They doing their own thing. They're going in. But I want to say that here's my thing. I do believe that I'm trying to figure out how to make sure I say this right. Okay. We have to deal with the issue of black on black crime, all of that stuff. But I believe this. I believe that the reason why sometimes we overlook that, it's almost like this, and it's going to sound crazy, but this is just what I believe sometimes it is. I can fight my brother, but you better not touch my brother. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying it makes sense that I kill my brother and you don't. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is sometimes I'm more offended by the fact that y'all think y'all can do us any kind of way, but I'm okay with doing this because I can revive my own people. You don't know how to deal with my people. And I think that's the mentality of some people. I'm not saying that I agree with that mentality. I'm saying I think that's what it is. I believe what we have to do is get to a place where we deal with the issues that we are facing within our local communities. Deal with the issues head on by having conversations with each other, seeing where we all stand, seeing how we can deal with this, and then move forward from that. But I said all that to say that the question Jock is asking, I understand why he's asking the question, because we can't overlook the fact that, hey, after we get through fussing and fighting with white people or the police, we need to make sure we converse with each other. I don't want to say fuss and fight with each other, but we converse with each other because there's also an internal issue. And if we don't deal with the internal issue, we'll just bleed out again or show people that we don't have each other's backs and they feel like they can attack us. That's just a thought.
I feel like that is sometimes or most of the time addressed in our overall declaration of unity as we are trying our best to bring our community together. I think that automatically goes into subject with that. We can't fight for our community if we're against our community. So I think that black on black crime, things of that nature are always on the front burner. I think that there's a plight against our women concerning abortion, and that most abortion clinics are put in the hood. So that's why we're leading in it. So I think that we have to really address the issue where the issue is, but also understand that the underlining theme is we're trying to bring unity to our people. So when something like this happens, don't go off into another subject. Let's deal with the subject that we're dealing with.
Right here. Yeah. I agree with that, and I want to say I see what you're saying. It makes.
I mean, I understand what he's saying. I'm not disrespecting what he's saying, but I'm just saying, like, it kind of throws me for a loop because in other subjects we have that problem as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, for those of you coming on, we're talking. It's a intense discussion, very serious discussion. We're encouraging everyone send your comments, questions. We'll acknowledge as many as we can. We may not get to all of them because we want to keep the conversation going. But we are saying this: it's okay to disagree, but don't be disrespectful. All right, looking for everybody to disagree in love and appreciate one another. I do want to say this and give a big shout out to Darren Bronson on here. I saw him commenting. He is an officer. And so, again, a lot of us are not saying we're anti-police because he's a good one. All right. He's a black cop. Good cop, being a cop for many years. And I will say this about him. He going to throw you in jail whether you're white or black if you do something wrong.
You could be his pastor, and
he gonna light you up, right? I mean, but he's definitely good people. And I saw a comment that he made. He does not like dirty cops, and we need more like him to stand up to cops. I know he's not afraid to call a cop out who's not following practices, procedures and things like that. I will say this, and then we're gonna move on. We talk about black on black crime, but let me say this: there's also white on white crime as well.
Their numbers are higher than ours.
And well, I didn't want to say that without a factual.
I'll pull it up for you. Go ahead.
It's factual.
Okay. I've seen it, but I don't know where I can say go look at it. So I didn't want to say that. So I'm just saying there is white on white crime as well. And one of the things that we do, because we do it in the black church, is we say, in the black church, this is the problem with the black church, until here's the thing. I started having white friends who were pastors and realized they started having the same, they have the same issues. And so some of the people late. So I think for us, it's a lack of exposure because we're black, we see black, we live black, we're around black. So we're going to make it out as if it is an only black issue when it's not. However, I believe each race has their alarming, isolated events that happen in their race, and just so happen police injustice is something that our black culture deals with. We're oftentimes unfairly targeted. All right, we're oftentimes unfairly profiled. There are laws, and this is one of the issues. I don't want to get too far into it. With Congress, you have people who don't look like us or live in our communities making laws for us. They're making laws for themselves. So, all of those are systemic issues, and we got to be careful on how we handle that. So I appreciate everybody. Again, we appreciate everybody commenting. Let me see if I can get some.
Can I pull the stat up or no? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, go ahead, man. If it's better not be Wikipedia.
I was about to say we might as well it's all good. We know.
It's from the FBI.
Don't share nothing from them. I don't need them. All right, let's move on. And we're moving. I want to ask this question. We got so much more to cover, so we got to move a little quickly here. We're not going to spend as much time here as we did the last question, but I do think we need to get quickly in depth into it and then jump out so we can get to the rest of the show. And that is from the protests, peaceful protests, people actually voicing their concerns, and people, all colors, all walks, having messages that they're not taking it anymore. That there needs to be a change. Just like anything, there have been some unruly things that happen that's turned into rioting, turned into looting. The question on the floor, and again, we can disagree without being disrespectful. The question on the floor is rioting/looting effective?
Before we answer this question, you guys put in the comment section which of the brothers is going to be the one to think differently than everybody else. Just go ahead and put it in the comment section. Give him a moment, Sherman.
Okay. Give him a moment.
Now,
Trayvon is
usually,
usually our host, and he's one of those people.
Sherman, don't do it. Don't do it, Sherman. My pastor might be watching.
Without, so as y'all see, I'm the vice president, and he was talking about Brandon. I really think he wants to be the usher board president. I'm ushering in the conversation here.
Give me the trustee. I want to be the trustee board. Give me the trustee board. I want to be the trustee board. We handle the money.
But we again, for those of you who are coming on, we want you to go ahead, share, like, comment. We're having meaningful dialogue. But the question on the floor is: people are turning peaceful protests, and they're starting to riot. They're starting to loot. Is this an effective measure?
Okay, I just got back on, and someone said, or Raekwon said that I would think differently. What is it that I would think differently about?
The question that was just asked, boy.
No,
I didn't know.
Pat,
Okay, first of all,
Come here, grumpy old man. Don't you do that. I'm about to...
Oh, Sherman, I thought you said you had this control. I'm
Calling
not
me
you
no
dealing with
boy.
it.
I'm
Don't
out.
be calling me no boy.
Conversation.
I would have,
You
hey
know
guys,
what
Hey,
environment we
I
in?
did call him a boy, didn't I?
You know what environment we in? You
All right. I've muted everyone. I am moderating this conversation. I want you guys to.
I am a grown
Bet.
man. I pay my
They
own
still,
bills.
they still
Bet.
hollering.
We all know.
Bet.
We all know that Patrick has
Watch
a
it, watch it, watch
man
it.
ladder, so he has to get up and run to the bathroom. So we're not calling him for.
While I pour me some more water.
All right, so y'all, all right, Pat, let me fill Pat in, Sherman. Pat, the question was asked what we posed earlier. Which of the brothers is going to think differently about the question that Sherman is posing? So, would you just...
Okay, what's your question?
What was the question, Trayvon? He didn't know. He wasn't here.
Sherman, repeat it.
Jesus Christ.
That's why you know, I'll fix this.
Muted.
The question on the floor, Pat.
Oh no, excuse me. Muted.
The question on the floor, Pat, is rioting / looting an effective measure? And then Trayvon came behind me with his fast self and asked the congregation to see which brother was going to give, you know,
A different opinion than the others.
And people were saying you, and someone said me. So with that being said, who's going to start first? Mac.
Well, since I've already been called
Pat.
to the carpet, I'm going to go last.
I thought you said I'm gonna go ahead and get it out the way. I'm gonna go last. Okay, go ahead, Mac.
I'm going to say, all right, so here's where I am. I think I'm more 70-30. And my 70 is no.
Okay. All right. You gonna leave it at that? I mean, it's cool if you do.
I thought we were just answering that part and going back and.
No, I mean, it's fine. You know, that's fine. All right, Brand. I kind of say Brand for last, but go ahead, Brand.
You probably could use me for last. So I will say this. I won't say that it is an effective way to cause things to change, but I also don't think that that's what it's meant to be. So I want you to understand a riot. I don't think that they are really trying to bring about a change in a sense, or they're trying to be effective like we would think of it in a sense. I think that they're upset, so they riot. They're mad at something and they're rioting. I don't think, somebody, I had this question because people were saying, it's the language of the unheard. The riot is the language of the unheard. And my thought was like, do the people that we want to hear that language, do they even understand it? Right? Mm-hmm. Do the people in power even understand that language? Right. But the truth is, do the people rioting even care if they understand it? And I think that's where I don't think it's effective in a sense where we're thinking it's going to bring about the the legislative changes and things of that nature. But I think that I don't know if that's what the whole purpose of it in the first place.
Okay. All right, Trey.
I don't agree at all. I don't agree at all. Ta-da! I'm the brother, guys. I don't see. Are we waiting to come back and have the conversation?
No, go ahead. Go get out of the way.
I don't see the benefit of looting. Let me say this. And my conversation is always geared towards the Christian believer because my responsibility is towards a Christian brother and sister. All right. I can try to educate those who are unbelievers. However, I speak from a moral standpoint that is based out of my relationship with Christ. And so I don't believe that, get to the point, okay. And so.
Be like a needle. Get to the point.
But I don't believe at all that looting or rioting on any level is an effective way of communicating. Yeah, somebody said this to me. Someone said this to me. They said, well, Trayvon, how are they going to hear us so we can get them to the table? Here's my question. If I do all of that damaging and destroying, all of that screaming and yelling, all of that stuff, do they want, as Brandon alluded to earlier, do they even want to hear us? Are they going to understand us when we're talking? And so the question then at that point is, are they going to sit down at the table? Because let me say this to you. If you come and damage anything, any property of mine or any property around me, my first thought is something's wrong with you. Even if I know you're angry. Even if I know you're angry.
No. He said that's his
for real.
thought.
Yeah, my first thought, what's wrong with you? What's going on? What's the problem?
But
if I see
Trayvon,
black, white, Asian, it's not a color thing. It's just if I walk outside my house right now and somebody's beating on my truck, my first question is, what the heck is wrong with this joker?
Oh no, that's not my first question.
What's your first question?
It's rather not a question, it's an action.
Well, Sherman, I understand that. However, I understand that, but just stick with me, okay? Sherman, I'm at my point. Sherman, I'm at the and now you're taking me around. See? I finally got to the point. You're taking me around. So what I'm saying is, hey, do y'all, wait, real quick, sidebar. Do y'all remember that time we were at Smoky Balls a minute ago? No, stop, for real. And I was doing Aaron, you got to remember this. We were younger. And I was doing really good. Like I was giving this great example of something. And I was telling Sherman or Patrick off about something. And you were like, okay. And all of a sudden I was like, if I go down to the car lot and just go grab a car, and you were like, hey man, you lost me. You was like, you were doing so well. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Hey, now this is how our conversations are. All right. So look, Sherman, forget you. Don't mute me either, Sherman. No point in me talking.
All right, Pat, we're on to you now.
No, listen to what I have to say right quick.
Go ahead, Pat.
Or I will interrupt Pat. Patrick, can I borrow your time? Patrick, can I borrow your time?
Hold on. Okay. As Maxine would say, not 1 second of my time. Not 1 second. Reclaiming my time.
I'm reclaiming my time.
I yield not 1 second to you. Trayvon, you have a good 45 seconds to say what you got to say.
So
45.
My initial thought is, what's the issue with this person? Something's wrong. I don't even give them a chance to explain it. So now you want to come to me and say, he said 45, that's 30. But anyway, now you come to me and say, all right, Trayvon, I want to sit down and talk to you. I don't want to talk to you at this point. You've destroyed stuff. You've made me feel like speaking to you with a level head is not going to happen. And so my thing is, if rioting and looting is our way of communicating, then how are we saying to people who we want to listen to us that we do communicate? We're telling them that we don't know how to communicate.
Okay, so
Good point, Trey. Good point.
Good point. But I got a question on that, Trey. Is that
I'm listening.
the Christian response? You heard what I said.
What'd you say?
Is that the Christian response?
Is
when they want to talk to you? When they want to talk to you, now you don't want to talk to them? Is that the Christian response?
Absolutely.
Don't play dumb now, Trey.
Can I tell you why? Because at that moment, I'm just giving Pat, for two reasons. One, I was speaking from the viewpoint of the other person, not necessarily the Christian. I'm talking about the person we want to talk to. However, if that were me, the Christian, the only reason I would say that is a good reason to not want to talk to them is because at that moment, I probably fear for my life. And I also see that there's possibly no point in talking to you. There has to be wisdom used when dealing with issues, which is why the Bible tells us even not to argue with people at a certain point. There's certain levels you just don't go to with people because you might not get anywhere. So if I feel like you will not comprehend, then there's no point of me speaking. As I not comprehend. If I feel like you can't communicate to me in a proper manner, I ain't listening. I ain't taking the time.
So can I say this real quick?
And
I'm sorry, I was just looking at
case on case, by the way, guys. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
Chairman, I
Go ahead,
yield
Pat.
2 minutes to Brandon McLaughlin. I yield 2 minutes to Brandon McLaughlin, Chairman.
Thank you. I shouldn't need that much, and hopefully I can remember what I was about to say. But who's going to be, at the end of the day, the ones who are doing that are not going to be the ones at the table. It's going to be the ones who've already built relationships in their community, and I think that we are. That's our responsibility to have those relationships with our governor, with our officials, with our government officials, and so that when that's going on, there is somebody else that's in the background working things and letting them know this is the demands of the people. This is why they're upset. This is why this is going on. And so when I get what you're saying, Trayvon. I just disagree that it's not it doesn't communicate. It does communicate something. I think it does effectively communicate that they're angry.
Well, absolutely.
It may not communicate anything else, but it does communicate that they're upset about something. I think from there, that's when it's our responsibility to speak in tongues and translate what they. You get what I'm saying? No, because
The first time in my entire
if
life,
people
man, I know. For the first time ever.
if people who are in power, if people who are in power don't understand the riot, then somebody needs to interpret what they're saying, and then it's our responsibility to speak in tongues and to make sure that they understand why these people are angry, and then take that to those in power. So I don't, like I said again, I'm not saying that a riot is the most effective way of protesting. I am saying that it does have a language, and we need to make sure that we translate it the right way to those who are in power, and that I don't demonize. I don't want to demonize those who are out there. You get what I'm saying? That's my thing. That's not the Christian response.
So,
Okay, I got you. So
all right. So let me.
Okay,
go ahead, Sherman.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Go ahead, so I don't forget. Are you gonna forget? Your mind's older than mine. You good?
I wrote down what I had.
Okay.
That's
All right.
the power of old people.
So here's my thing. I'm gonna give a tithe. Okay, I'm 90-10. I'm gonna keep the 90 and saying I don't believe they're effective, right? For this reason right here, and then 10% of me do see some effectiveness in it. All right. We talked earlier, and I said one of my major issues with looting and burning things down is it puts people out of work. And if it puts people out of work, it creates a cycle of now I can't pay my bill, so I need to go do something or get this money somehow. And you have honest, hardworking people, and this is what we have to think about. When you shut down a store trying to stick it to the man, you really just stick it to somebody in your community who needs those 40 hours to pay their light bill or to pay, insurance and keep their car going or whatever the case may be. Those are things that we don't tend to think about. And we have to be careful when we're destroying small businesses. We're really spitting in the face of somebody's hard work and dreams. And as much as we want to say insurance should cover this and da 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 da, every small business does not have that luxury. They're really just operating and stepping out on faith and going, from here, just making it from month to month. So that's how I look at it. Being a small business owner and just being an entrepreneur, I would be devastated if something like that, happened and tore my business down. My other point is this: we have to be chess players, right? And the reason I say it's not effective because I knew this crap was going to happen, where we're out here protesting, and George Floyd, Breonna, and all the other people are getting the respect that they should have got while they were living, number one. But we're making moves and making strides. I knew that it was going to happen, that the moment the riots and looting happened, that the media was going to turn their attention to that, and the government was going to respond to the looting and not the protests. They were silent on the protests. They said, the people are out there peaceful. That's all they did. But the moment they started looting, now we're going to respond because now we got a reason to send in the military and the National Guard. Now we have a reason to make our police look like they're military, like they're going over to Iraq because of the looters. And chess players, they make moves based upon the other person's moves. So my 10% of the looting and the rioting and the burning things down being effective is this. If we gonna burn something down, it needs to be monumental. It needs to be symbolic. It needs to be a statement, right? Burn down a bank. They set the police station on fire.
My money.
Stuff like that. Like, don't destroy random businesses. You know what I'm saying?
We do not condone.
Oh no, I'm sorry. No, we don't condone.
Thank you. Disclaimer.
That's gonna be clipped tomorrow. I want y'all. That's gonna be clipped tomorrow.
No, I'm not saying do it. I'm not saying do it. I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying if that's the case, I'm gonna stop talking now.
Okay.
No, I
understand.
I understand what you're saying because my problem is it's like you kill us, we go out and burn down our stuff because we're mad at what you've done to us. That doesn't make sense.
Go ahead, Mac. I don't want it.
No, because that's what I was saying. That's what my 70 was, because my no was because when we're doing, and this is the problem I'm seeing. This is the problem I'm seeing. When I look at videos of looting and rioting, I'm seeing too many people having fun. Too many people are out there having fun, going live, cracking jokes, coming out of the stores with chips, coming out of the stores with, stuff they don't need, all of that stuff, but yeah. So the problem I'm seeing is, are they really doing it? Are the majority doing it for the reaction that it will get or the positive reaction that it could cause, or are they just having fun?
And I think that's my thing, Mac. That's where my concern comes in. Are we really looking for change by going to the extreme? Or are we going to the extreme because we can? Because here's my thing, and I'll say this, and I'm sure I'm that brother, I guess. But my thing is this. If the police show up and you run and go back home, in my opinion, you shouldn't have showed up. Because at the end of the day, your goal was to prove a point to the power that tries to oppress you. Therefore, you're going to prove it. No, I'm going to stay here. Those who stood for justice in the old, they would what was that song? I shall not be moved, just like a tree planted by the water. So at the end of the day, they were saying, I don't care what you do, spray a hose, throw this and that, do what you do. We are not moving. And guess what? It's not every man for himself. We're locked arms together. So if he don't run, I ain't running. If she don't run, I'm not running. And so I believe our message has to be unified and our message has to be clear. But when we're just doing random stuff just to do it, or for photo ops, I see the angry faces going up, but I need the Saints to know this is my opinion on tonight. I'm that brother.
Wait, what you worry about angry face for? Keep going.
I ain't worried about it. I was telling you what I seen. I didn't want to say.
Somebody might have slid. Don't. Okay, so that.
I'm about to say he may have slipped.
Let me give my take on it.
I'm sorry, PG. Go ahead.
I am somewhat, if you would say, neutral. And when I say that, I'm neutral based off of definition.
Already error.
And listen, hear me out.
Send him to hell, Sherman. Why don't you?
Okay, I'll say it like this. I am totally, and let me say this up front, I'm totally against looting. totally against that. Now, when it comes to rioting and protesting, I get it, I understand it, and I can participate in it. I think the effectiveness comes from how it's done, because to protest literally just means to voice or to express your disapproval. To riot means to, for lack of better terminology, it just simply means to disrupt the peace. And so I think the problem we look at is how it's done. Now, again, I am totally against learning, because like Sherman said earlier, we are taking and destroying our own community that our grandparents and great-grandparents have worked hard to build. Yeah, we are, everybody is saying, we're wearing shirts about it, we're making it a mantra, and I'm happy for it, I'm all for it, where we say, I can't breathe. But the problem is, when you go to Walmart and you destroy Walmart, and now Walmart is talking about closing all their stores in the United States, now what you've done is you've taken the breath out of some single parent that was their only source of income. You've taken the breath out of some elderly person that couldn't make it off of a monthly check. So is it okay for them to take our breath while we go take somebody else's breath, although it's in a different form? But it's the same thing. Again, now we're looking at, I was looking at it earlier today, we're looking at it where Walmart is saying they're closing all their stores in the United States. I know in Fayetteville, they tore up JCPenney. I got aunts and uncles and family members, that's their only place to shop. They got that JCPenney's card they had since 1972.
Let me tell you.
And they go in there and they swipe it because belts is too high, and Macy's is too expensive as well. So JCPenney's is their spot. So my problem is, when I watch everybody's different ones live, it looked like an opportunity to go and just take stuff, and hey, we got the chance, we're gonna do it under the banner of injustice. You don't break the law to fix the law.
Thank you.
So, and I'm watching one dude walk out of Walmart with 2 boxes of Pampers. I'm like, dude, you could have called me. I would have bought you a year's supply.
Whoa, Patrick, if I was going to steal anything, it would have been some Pampers.
All right. Okay.
Some white.
We spent
Okay.
a lot more time on this than we intended, but I want to get to this, and then we're going to move quick. What's next? All right. We talked about the rule. We talked about whether the is effective. We talked about the protesting, and again, we're going to shift focus back to the positive, peaceful protest. What's next? Like, what do we do? What are some steps? What are you guys thinking in your mind that's going to help our community continue to make progress that Dr. King and others before him and those after him have started? Now we're standing on their shoulders. How are we going to keep this thing moving and continue and to try to get the progress going again?
I think the first move, or the first next step is to keep momentum when we're 3 months past it. What I mean by that is, we're all upset. Everybody's talking about it now. Don't let this die, because July the 4th, don't be so focused on having your good time. Yeah, we dealing with this situation. Ain't nobody talking about coronavirus. Ain't nobody talking about social distance. Ain't
Screenshot.
If we gonna fight, let's fight to the end.
Y'all talking about me?
No.
Second, I would say let's educate our people.
I thought you was thinking I was asleep like Pat last week.
Oh, you shut up.
Hey, I agree with that, educating our people. Also, I think that revival and revolution. I think this is the time for the church to this is the time because
Kirk
we're all
Franklin been asking us for years. He's been asking us for years, do we want a revolution?
Y'all sent him to hell when he first asked Pat.
so
Yeah, they did.
so now he was in hell before that because that was stoned before. But anyway,
Right.
so all of us are pastors. So I think the revolution starts with us raising intellectual sons and daughters who will go out to take over governmental positions. And I think that in the church we have to stop looking at everyone who is gifted and has any type of talent and trying to make them the next preacher, the next psalmist, the next this, and some of these giftings are for the marketplace. Some of these giftings are for governmental positions, and we need to be able as pastors to help develop that and then push those people into those positions and then rally behind them. Another thing is, I think the church has to continue, and I'm very, very, very cautious on saying the church is not, but I think the church has to continue to be more involved in politics, more involved in what's going on in the community, what's going on in our cities. The church has to be more vocal, and I think that's where the revolution starts.
Absolutely.
Let
me. I'm gonna get
Truth
to.
of the matter is,
I'm gonna read some of these comments. Well, I thought I was, but for some reason I can only see a few. Question on the floor: how do you guys feel about boycotting? Brandon commented and said, "I think boycotting will still work." Brandon, you want to elaborate on that? And
Yeah, no, I think we spend a lot of money every year, and if we decide to spend money into, especially now, if we know that a business might have been, kind of disrupted during the pandemic and during the riots, when they are back up, if we're spending money into them and not spending money into corporations that don't support us as a people, then I think that will, in effect, cause some heads to move, and some people to start moving. So I think boycotting still works. I think, again, everything is about being strategic. It's about making strategic moves. So if you are going to boycott, you have to, as a community, and I think that's so we have to learn how to steps forward. We need to learn how to work together.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason that we shouldn't be working together. We're all going through the same things. So we need to learn how to work together. And that way, when we do boycott something, it has a bigger impact. It's one thing we say, okay, as Black people, we're going to boycott this, and only 45% of us boycott it, and it doesn't make an effect.
Right.
So I think we need to figure a way to work together and not be jealous. It's not a time to say who's over it, who's going to speak,
Right.
who set it up.
Right.
Who cares? Be there, support if you can, and I think that's the way. And so boycotting, as long as we do it smart.
All right, Brent. I do want to
totally.
Go ahead, Matt, Pat.
I totally agree with that. I think if we really hit America in its golden cow, which is the money arena, if we hit them where it hurts, we demand that they listen to us. The problem is that I have is, we have many people and many CEOs, many designers who have voiced their opinion about the African American community, and we're still wearing their garments, we're still purchasing the items, and so that gives them the right to say, hey, I can say what I want to say. At the end of the day, y'all still gonna buy from me, And I think that's the problem. We gotta understand how this thing works. They market stuff to hit our community. They market stuff to, feed off us. So if we keep feeding into their pockets, then they're gonna keep saying what they want to say. As long as they can produce a nice pocketbook, as long as they can produce nice clothes, then then the Black people gonna buy it. I heard somebody tell me the other day that Rent-A-Center, you can go there and rent what's that pocketbook everybody called? Michael Kors pocketbook. And I'm like, are you serious?
In the center?
In Rent-A-Center.
That was a
And I'm like, are
furniture
you
store.
Well,
They up their game.
But again,
They up.
we gotta
They up their game.
we gotta wake up. But look at this. Look at this. If you look at history, the African American community was at its best when we were segregated. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, that's
all
not
right.
what I'm saying. Oh no, you
All right.
like that.
Yeah, because I can say something, but
Okay.
I don't want
All right, so let me just prove that point. When we were segregated, we had this thing.
That's okay, Pat. Don't prove your point.
The problem is,
You froze.
I heard
You
I got to relax.
You froze, man. Go ahead.
That boy said when we was.
Everybody, y'all laughing with us. Share right now, please. Get these numbers back up. Share with us. Share with your friends right now, and let them know that brothers are still having this conversation. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Nicole said this. Nicole, Brandon's wife, our sister, said this: support Black business, and this is a part I really love. Black people get involved in the PTA.
Yeah.
Go to school board meetings. She is a teacher. She loves teaching. And I can say this, I know she's, I can say there aren't too many of us involved in the PTA. There aren't too many of us going to school board meetings and having teacher meetings. Most of the time, if we have a teacher meeting, we're not being proactive. We're reacting. Our kids are on the verge of not graduating, or they have low scores, and we want to know why they work and get, so we got to do a better job of being connected to the school board and the PTA and things like that. Know them on a regular. All right, let me see if I can see anything else. She said, start a fund to continue to sponsor Black students for schooling. I love that. Tavares said, learn how to unify. One band, one sound.
Can I say something to that?
Go ahead, Matt.
I think the unity part will work if we really have a sincere heart and discipline to unify. As me and you were talking yesterday, Sherman, somebody posted to take your kids out of D1 schools and send them to HBCUs for sports.
Right.
Well, that will only work if we all did it. The problem is there was some of us who would have some of us who are Black that would have the mentality, okay, while all of the talented people go over there to the D1 school, I'm gonna stay here because then it'll bring more attention to me and give me a better opportunity. So I think that it will only work if we really have a sincere heart to unify and the discipline to unify.
Absolutely. And it's going to, that sacrifice, because even when we were talking about it yesterday, that choice is going to require some sacrifices, because a lot of those guys like LeBron, well, LeBron didn't go to college, but a lot of those guys, they go to D1 schools so they have a better opportunity and better chance of getting into the NBA so they can make money, and so it's almost like you don't go to that D1 school, you lose your meal ticket. And, a lot of those guys are kind of dependent on that to live a better life. So I think sometimes we can go to the extreme. I know stuff sounds good, but I'm gonna stop right there. Okay. So, my view on what it's going to take next, and then we're going to go to the last piece. And I'm going to say this quick. Go vote. Go vote.
You're going to hear my view. Go ahead.
Go vote. Go vote. Go vote. Know who you're voting for. Find a strong voice. Support that voice. Me and Brandon were talking earlier, and he made a great point. I said, Brandon, one of the issues is we don't have one voice to get behind. And he said, Sherm, one of the issues is because social media has given everybody a platform now. So back in the day, you didn't have that choice to you know, they had their platform. You had to get behind the person who had the most momentum. Nowadays, everybody can start a Facebook Live, start a page, start a revolution, and everybody has a platform and everybody's split. But I'm encouraging you guys to get with a group, sign up with somebody, support somebody's voice, because at this particular point, we have too many people talking. And when there's too many demands and too many this, too many that, it's like, we you know, how can we advance ourselves with so many different messages? You know, that's my take on it. I wanted to be quick. I have a lot more to say, but go ahead, Trey, so we can do this, and you do the last segment so we can get out of here.
Okay. Go ahead, B.
No, go ahead, man. You good. You ain't got to talk yet.
Okay. I was gonna say the way that we're going to move forward is we're gonna have to, as everybody keeps saying, sit at the table, right? But in my opinion, I believe that the table we need to sit at is a table with each other. And if we can sit down as a community of people, Black people, sit down at a table with each other and go back to a little bit of what everybody said, educate ourselves, unite with each other, build that mentality of uniting and supporting our young people to raise them up to understand not just their history, but the availability that they have to actually possess something and be great at something. And then engage in our community. That's why I think we lack a lot of times as well. We're not engaging in our local communities. We see everything that's happening all over the world and we say, oh, they're mad, let me get mad too. No, let's deal with the issues in our local communities, not by being upset with them, but by actually standing up for justice. And what that means is get involved so that you have an opportunity to get in the face of those individuals who are supporting ill policies and say, hey, no, that ain't right. That doesn't support every person. That is, and specifically minorities. Why are my people left out? Ben, did you hear what I just said? Why are these people left out? Why Pat, don't mess with me. Why are these people left out? Why is this group not considered? Why are we leaving people behind? And I think that's important. And then the very last thing that I want to say is we've got to come together with one, as was said earlier, one band, one sound, with one mind, and join our dollars together. At the end of the day, if Black people would learn, if we would learn how to take our money and support one another by, I think somebody made the statement earlier, by purchasing from Black-owned businesses. I'm not saying we don't support white-owned businesses or Asian businesses. I'm not saying that. But find out if there's a soul food restaurant somewhere, or find out, hey, there's some healthy Black people who want to, you know what I'm saying? They have healthy restaurants. So find out who has what you need, who has what, you know, what you purchase. And what you do is get out here and support that Black-owned business. What does that do? It gives us the opportunity to join our dollars together and build each other up, buy back our communities, build up communities for our people so that we have enough power and education to be able to stand against any injustice that tries to stand up against our people. That's where I think we need to fight here. If we can start fighting here, then this right here is just another level of defense. That's just my thing. Sherman, don't do me like that. Seriously, go ahead, B.
No,
And
you did that. It reminded me of Friday when he said, "Put the gun down, Greg."
Y'all don't fight. You don't fight with your hands no more.
Go ahead, Matt. Be Matt.
I was gonna say we have, as a church, I think the church has to continue to and maybe do a better job of teaching these things. We have people in our Bible studies, we have people in our church services, and we constantly want to make them shout. Sometimes they have to leave empowered, and I think that's so I think that's important. Having educational pieces. One thing that and some people don't like Jamal Bryant, but I love what he's doing. I enjoy that he has educational pieces to educate you on how to help with your money, group therapy, all these things. So I think we have to do continue to, or do a better job of educating. Why was it not first degree and it was third degree? We need to educate people so they understand, because you can't bring dollars together if you don't got a dollar. right? And so we have to teach people how to hold on to their money, how to live, a life where you can save some money and then leave assets and different things of that nature. So I think we have to do a better job of teaching our people to be responsible in different ways. We need to focus on the full life and not just the life after.
Right.
We can get our folk into heaven, but if they're living in hell down here, it's hard to be able to minister. And so we want to help them to be able to do better and address the entirety of their lives.
Yeah.
So if they're living in hell down here, we still carry a message of hope to them, though, right?
Yeah, no, I'm saying I'm saying is we want to address.
Wrong either. I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just
No.
asking the question.
But
I
Trey,
want. No, I'm saying this. I'll make it clearly. We need to address the entirety of the person and not just their soul.
Right.
Our churches
That's what I was trying
are
to get.
overweight. Our churches are overweight. People don't have money. We need to address, and let me not say our churches are overweight. We have a lot of people who have different ailments, diabetes.
We know.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
But I'll say to Trey, when you like the message of hope, we also have to realize that with the message of hope, attached is the message of responsibility.
Right.
Because like Brandon said, we have all these things that are going on in our church, but we need to be responsible to eat right. God, we know God is a God of miracles. We'll pray the cancer out, the diabetes out, and the high blood pressure out, and all of that. But that's the hope. But the responsibility is, don't go back to what opened the door to those things.
Right.
God gives you a financial miracle, right? You get a raise on your job. Well, don't go out and buy a more expensive car just because you got a raise. Don't put yourself in certain. So along with that message of hope, there's a message of responsibility. God is going to do things. Yes. So our responsibility as black people, again, we have that responsibility. Go vote, go this, raise our children, read up on things, not just on Facebook, but do research, and find out what's going on in the community. We have a responsibility, well-rounded, not just souls shouting and jumping in the church, but the whole man.
Yeah.
That's what God wants.
Yeah.
And that's what we fail. Go ahead.
Let me give you an example of what we do. And maybe a pastor is listening, leaders are listening that can take it back to their church. Our church for the past 2 years, every month, every third Wednesday of the month, we have what is called, we used to call it Holistic Wednesday, but we call it Work on Me Wednesday now, where we actually have some type of teaching training that empowers someone to be able to operate outside of the church. So we do credit repair. We teach people how to, buy homes, what to do when you go to the car lot. One of the things that we're going to be doing soon is we're going to be doing an actual social studies class and I think I was talking about this with you all, about going back and showing our people how they're supposed to vote. It is not just about vote for the president, but what you need to look for and how that works, how that, stuff that we learned in school, we need to go back and do a refresher course. But every third Wednesday, we do something to empower the individual holistically so that they can operate outside of church. And they're not just walking out spiritually heavy, but not being able to operate holistically.
Right. I agree. That was the point of my question, guys. I just want y'all to know I didn't disagree with what you said, Brandon.
No, you good, bro.
All right, Trey.
Okay, so thank you guys for
We be muting that boy.
Hold on, can you come back in? What happened, man?
Cricket phones. There's a picture of my finger I want to send you guys. All right, just check.
Is that Christ-like?
I don't know tonight.
There you go.
I'm angry. Hey, can I say this? I want to say this to you guys.
No.
Do your set.
I'm going to do the segment, but I want to say this. I want to tell everybody it's okay to be angry. But if we are Christian believers, let's be mindful that even in our anger,
Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil.
Hi. It's okay to live in a house of anger. As long as you
sound like Dr. Phil.
You sound like Osteen.
You sound like who? Joe Osteen? All right. Tonight we're talking about, of course there are a lot of issues surrounding the Black community and things that are going on right now. And so we figured, we'll end tonight on a lighter note, of course. Y'all know the brothers, if you guys watch the show continuously, if this is your first time, you've noticed, even in a serious conversation with ourselves, we clown, we have fun with each other, and we'll let you guys in. But listen. I want you guys to engage on this one, all right? All of us on this screen right now, all of us have a Black mama. All of us. It's just a parent. We have Black mamas, all right? My mama's a little brighter than everybody else's, but Black. All right, just want to put that out there to you guys. All right, if you guys had any questions because of the red hair, anyway. So now, sharpness. If we
can you just go?
Okay, all right, But what I was going to say is, we want to talk about this real quick. Things Black mamas say. I want y'all to post in the comment section. I want y'all to type in there, things Black mama say. What's something that your Black mama said to you? Or you heard a Black mama say. I know one thing my Black mama used to say. I will slap you into the middle of next week.
My mom would say, I'm going to cave your chest in.
I don't think I will be able to be in this segment because there aren't enough for what my mom.
Oh.
She did tell me I could be the president of the United States if I wanted to be.
Your mama told you that?
Yeah.
She was being sarcastic, wasn't she?
No, she was being serious.
Your mom told you could be the president, Sherman?
What she say after that?
Right. That's the thing, Aaron. What did you say after that?
He said psych.
No, my mom was very supportive. She said she didn't say nothing after. She was very supportive. But now a lot of the stuff I can't repeat.
What you say? All right, so y'all, we want y'all to comment while we're doing this. Tell us what some things your Black mama said, and, or a Black mama said.
Now I can tell you some things my Black mama did, maybe not said. She would. We had a 2-story house, and she would call me downstairs to get the remote that was right next to her and give it to her.
You all have that experience?
Yes, my mama did something. Not right next to her.
Yes.
Room.
Give me that remote right there.
And I found myself doing that to my son.
Go ahead, Pat.
I said I found myself doing that to my son.
Hey, and I bet you told yourself when you were growing up, I'll never do this to my children, right?
No, I said I wasn't going to do it.
You said you weren't?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so look, my mom, I remember my mom would do, she wouldn't do the whole thing like that, but I would get called downstairs. My mom would say, Trayvon, and I wouldn't respond. Her thing was, you need to answer me the first time I call you. That was it. The first time I call you, not the second time, not the third time. And first of all, don't just come, but you better come and say yes, ma'am, at the same time. She need to know you on your way and you responded to her. That's what my mom was. You didn't just, hey, Curtis Peak says,
hey, wait.
To cry for.
Wait, I remember my mom calling me a couple of times, and I say, ma'am, and I keep saying, ma'am. She said, how many times you gonna say, ma'am, before you get your behind down here?
That's the other one. My mama did that too. That was one too. Hey, Brianna Dickens said, mama, she said, do I look like Boo Boo the Fool to you?
Heard that.
Hold. Listen.
Where did they get that from, man?
I don't know.
Y'all ever, for example, I'd be like, yo, can I go to the park? My mom said no. And I'd be like, Aaron, Brandon, and Patrick and Trayvon going to the park.
I am not their mama.
I ain't Aaron, Brandon, Patrick, and Trayvon mama. You ain't going.
Can I ask y'all this? Did y'all mama ever do this? Y'all mamas ever clown with y'all? Y'all go back and forth clowning, and then you go a little too far. She's like, I ain't want my friends be playing with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I ain't want your little friends. She's like, God dang. Hey, that's what Jasmine just put in here. Jasmine Thompson, she says, I'm not one of your little friends.
That's the one.
Yeah, I heard that one too. I heard that one.
Friends? On.
Nah,
How about
I remember.
My
Go ahead.
grandma used to say that. You're smelling yourself.
Smelling it. Oh.
I remember hearing "Go get the switch." That's what I.
Brandon,
Oh,
those are the worst words ever. Hey, let me ask you, who else got beat with a switch?
Hold on.
I
And
did.
then you go get the smaller switch.
And then they go get the big one.
Hey, look at that
But you really
comment.
got a beat before.
Look at that comment by Daryl.
You look like a park.
Right. You look like a park.
Somebody going to a park. Hey, Sherman. But when you went and got the switch, did y'all, okay, y'all got beat by switch. Did y'all ever have to get them braided together?
Yep, that was my dad though.
Listen.
That was child abuse.
That's child abuse. Y'all have got
y'all ain't gonna have my grandma mad at me. Child abuse.
The worst thing that I used to, the number one thing I couldn't stand the most was that you almost beat me to death and then tell me to shut up crying.
Shut up, I give you something. Shut up, I give you something to cry for.
You better not cry. You better not cry. What?
Hey, nah, I got to. Oh God, my Aunt Helen's gonna get me, man. Look, my aunt was. Hey, nah. She was whooping me and David, and while she was doing it, she started crying, and that used to bother me so much because she would cry when she would whoop us. She'd be like, you guys gotta do better. And she's crying. I'm like, if you gonna cry, just don't hit me then.
Brandon,
don't hit me.
Love, Brandon, that's love, man.
Hey, nah, if it's hurting you like that, just leave me alone.
If y'all are just now tuning in, we've been talking about, the issues that's been going on, but now we're talking about why we love being black. And one of the reasons we love being black is our black mamas. What's something that your black mama said? Hey, Sherman, before you say what you're going to say, I got to put this one in here. Somebody said this. Tavar said, we got food at the house. There's some noodles, some ham, and some cheese in there. You look like the McDonald's. Go ahead.
Hey, no. Hey, you know that you got McDonald's money? That junk is real, bro.
Go ahead, Sherman.
I was trying to get away from my mom from beating me one time. And I don't know how it happened, but all I know is I turned around. And when I turned around, y'all remember the acolytes from WWF? All I know is my mom was trying to swing the belt to hit me, but my chin caught her right here. She said, whoosh! And I swear I did a flip. And I was looking up to the hills from which came my help, but my help never came. Listen, that was one of the worst beatings, man. How about this? Your stomach hurt. What was the medicine that you got?
Ginger ale.
Crackers.
Pat said Pepto-Bismol. Ginger ale, Pat. You got ginger ale.
Or my mom would say, you got to cut the grease. Get some vinegar. So she'd give me some vinegar and some water.
My
mama's solution for everything, I ain't lying, was a goody powder. Mom, my hair hurt. Go get a goody powder. Mom, I tripped and fell. Boy, you better go get a goody powder out that closet. Mom, I'm tired. Shut up, boy. Did you take a goody powder?
So what about you in the middle of summer and you outside playing and you go in the house to pee, come back outside to play, you play for another 2 hours, you thirsty, you go again, you gonna quit running in and out my house.
As if you've been just walking back and forth.
Look, I ain't trying to air condition the whole neighborhood.
Why did they tell us you letting the air out? You letting my air out.
Or you letting flies in my house? What?
Okay.
Hey, no, that fly one is real though, man. That fly one's real. In North Carolina, you know that junk is real. Boy, you open the screen door for 2 seconds.
I opened the door today, and I was like standing on the porch. I was like, wait a minute, I'm letting some flies in.
Oh God! Hey, have y'all ever left the light switch on? Yo, that junk, that's a death sentence. That is a death sentence, bro. That is a death sentence.
Okay, hold on. This might not be mama's. This might be grandmama's. Whenever it starts raining real bad, turn that TV off.
Oh,
The Lord talking.
The Lord talking. Hey, if
Let
it's
the Lord
storming,
have his work. Let the
Man,
Lord do his work.
my grandma would walk up in there. You know, I live with her. She say, "Turn that off. Turn everything off." I'm like, "Grandma, it's everything. Turn it off." God,
That's what made thunderstorms scary. We had to sit and listen to them.
It was the Lord talking. It was the Lord talking.
They used to turn everything off. They used to turn everything off and make us sit in the middle of the floor and be quiet. Don't say nothing.
And just be looking.
Lights be off. Everything.
Not so much funny.
That's the Lord working. You got to respect the Lord's work.
This is not so much funny, but I remember, I don't know if y'all ever did this, my family was pretty close, so when there was like a hurricane or something like that, something going down, everybody went to grandma's house, and everybody stayed in the same house. Did y'all pile up like that at all? Did y'all do that? We did that. That was fun for us, though. No? No.
So, I mean, I already lived in somebody else's house.
My family, we was all in one house together.
I was already.
Did y'all grandparents put batteries in the freezer?
Yeah. I've seen people do it, but not no.
Did y'all parents save Betty Crocker butter tubs and Cool Whip?
Yes. Still got
it. And then they pour their cooking grease in there. So we gonna save.
My grandma got that. She had that Crisco. Yeah, that Crisco thing on the side.
Look. They in there cooking their greens, and they're like, "Bring me some of that cooking grease."
Yep. I actually got some bottles in there right now. Oh, dark grease.
Don't cook right.
Pierre says, us, we'd say, I'm hungry. Mom would say, if you go to sleep, you won't be hungry. My mama said that plenty of times.
My hair hurt. You were asleep, you wouldn't feel it.
That's a real one right there. If it's sunny and raining outside, they gonna say the devil beating his wife.
About it. Did y'all ever hear that?
I'm so confused. I never got that.
I ain't gonna lie. One time I actually put my ear down to the ground. I gotta
tell you. So, Rayford's a little different. So Rayford, the thing was, when it's raining and it's sunny, the devil's beating his wife. If you go to the light pole and put your ear to it, you can hear them arguing.
What?
You know why they was arguing?
Right there, boy.
Hey, Junior, you know why they was arguing? Because once your face hit the ear pole and that lightning strike, you're going to hear a whole bunch of something. That's what I All right, Brianna Meekin says, hold on. Stay in the house, stay in or out, smelling like outside. That was her comment.
Oh, you smell like outside, yeah.
Yeah, smell like outside.
You smell like wet dog.
Outdoors.
Smell like wet dog.
Wet dog.
No showers during the storm, and don't. Oh, okay, you already said.
Oh God, yeah, that one was real.
Tavares say he still save his pork grease.
Not pork grease.
Pork grease. Hey, that stuff dries. It gets all white.
Get that film.
It gets white. Hey, man. Hey, I got some good memories, boy. That's some good stuff. That hog jaw. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna get hungry.
Hey, look. Okay. Now, what was some of our grandma in particular, what was some of their stories and some of their shows they used to watch? Mine was MacGyver, In the Heat of the Night.
Heat of the Night.
My grandma would sit up and watch QVC all day long, y'all.
In the Eyes of the Ranger.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, I think I've seen every one of them.
Hey, but I'm sure all of us could agree on this now, for real. At a certain time of the day, when the news come on, don't you mess with that TV.
Oh, no, don't.
Oh, no.
I'm telling you now. 4 o'clock, they was watching the story.
The stories, 4 o'clock.
Young and the Restless.
The news.
Bold
Yep.
and the Beautiful.
Bold
Guiding
and
Light.
the Restless.
The Young and Restless.
Bold and the
Yes, sir.
Beautiful.
General Hospital.
Guiding Light.
Hey, I grew up with Victor Newman. I'm talking about.
We knew Victor.
Hey,
Victor helped me do
man-
my homework. I'm sitting there doing homework with Victor Newman.
that man
It
was
was.
old when we were young.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
Let me shut up.
Victor Newman is the white Morgan Freeman.
Never died.
He been old for a minute, boy.
Oh God.
Brianna
Andy
Mickens.
Griffin was hot. Not
Hey, what
out.
about?
Oh, Andy Griffin. Yeah,
I
yeah.
still watch Andy Griffin. Do y'all
Andy
watch
Oh, Beverly
Sanford and
Hillbillies.
Son.
Sanford?
Oh yeah. Sanford and Son.
Sanford and
Diagnosis Murder.
Beverly
And,
Hillbillies.
Murder, She
Son. Heat of the
Wrote.
Night.
Oh my good Matlock and Murder, She Wrote. Boy.
Murder,
I
She
still
Wrote.
like Matlock.
They was some of the
I can't
most
get into Murder, She
nosiest
Wrote.
people. Murder, She Wrote. She was nosy.
Hey,
And
Willa
Price is Right
Point.
in the morning.
Price is Right. Oh yeah, that was a show. That was a show. You right.
My granddaddy sitting there cussing at him. Yo, daddy, you know that old.
Hey, whoa. Those were the
What's your
shows,
What's your granddaddy
boy.
say, Pat?
I can't say
He ain't say look at you see that's the serpent. That's the serpent in the garden right there. That's
Woo!
that,
Okay. All right. So, okay, that was good. All right. General Hospital. Oh, that's what I was gonna ask y'all. Passion. Did y'all ever remember the one that was called Passion? The story.
man, nah, we ain't get with
That
that.
That was one of
It
the
was-
newer ones.
If
It was
it was
weird.
them top five, if it want them top five, it was low rated.
It was
If I
low
was
rated.
watching Telemundo or some Passion.
No, let me tell y'all something. Speaking of Telemundo, y'all, let me tell you about my granddaddy. This is no lie. To the day he went to be with Jesus, my granddaddy would sit up in his recliner and watch
Bonanza. Oh, I'm
and
sorry,
watch
Trey.
the Spanish channel as if he knew what them people were saying. My grandma say, Charles, why you in here watching this? He'll say, Doctor, I know what's going on. I know what's going on. You don't know Charles McNeil.
Everybody had that uncle or grandpa who was always asleep. But if you changed the channel,
They knew.
He woke up.
I won't.
Hey, they listing westerns right now, man. They listing them westerns they was watching. Bonanza and Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
So my granddaddy had two things. Either when he said he wasn't asleep, he was either resting his eyes or he was in prayer mode. Those was his two things.
Hey, Pat, just like last week with you, right?
But those
That boy got his granddaddy.
this last week, Pat was like this.
He was. Jeremy, in the middle of the show. In the middle of the show.
Oh,
I was
God.
on my phone. I was on my phone.
No. Trayvon said, "Is he sleeping?" You go like this. No, I was on my phone. My phone was. And I was dialing the people because of the.
Oh. My granddad
Oh, God.
So
Now, my granddad didn't call it a remote. He said the remote control or just the remote. Don't touch my remote.
mhm.
That's how that was. Go
So
ahead,
what
bro.
about the grandparents that was signing you up for these Easter speeches?
Yo,
And then
my
said,
grandma.
You better not get up there and embarrass me.
Embarrass me. What?
So can I tell y'all?
Did you choose your Easter speech? Or they chose it for you?
They
Yeah.
chose us for you.
You understand?
And you
Man,
and
my
you-
grandma.
and you know. Look, they
How
say
did y'all do
well, I
Easter
know.
speeches? In the church?
Yeah, shout out to my grandma who tried to sign me up for an Easter speech at 20 years old.
doing that. I get off the ordinary.
Sherman, did you do it? You did it, Sherman?
Did you do it?
Yep.
Yep.
Hey, man. My grandma's. You don't. My grandma signed me up for one of them little, like competitions at the church. The little talent ones where they have you sing and do all that kind of stuff.
Oh.
And yeah, whatever contest they be trying to raise money.
Yeah.
And she said, "Sing, I believe I can fly. Sing, I believe I can fly." I was like,
Out loud,
"Grandma, I ain't about to sing it." Yeah, I ain't about to sing that junk.
Look, Alvira knew you could fly.
Let me tell you what my
She was trying. Hey, boy, I was singing Space Jam all around the house, Bo.
My grandma would get it.
Alvira said her baby can fly.
She would pick the speech, right? And she'd get you at the house. And when you just walk in the hallway, come here, boy. Come here. Come here, boy. Stand right there. Stand right there. Do your speech. Do your speech.
Mm-hmm.
Do your speech. Yes, ma'am. So you get to do shit. That ain't how you do it. That ain't how you do it. Now, you know, just go on. Get out my face. Get out my face, because you're going to deliver say it wrong anyway when you get up there. What? That's some encouragement. Grandma made that thing real, but you know what? By the time you got her, she was proud of you. She made that thing work, you hear me? Hey, she was going to make it work. Can I tell you about me one time? My grandma was so proud of me.
No, it's time for bed.
7 minutes. Shut up, man.
Man.
Okay.
Who's going to do
We're
it?
not supposed to be here for 10 to 12 while you talking about we got 7 minutes, bro.
I did what I needed to do in a reasonable amount of time. This one segment is about to take the time of my 3.
Who's gonna do it?
Do
Thank
what?
y'all so much for joining us. We're
I
so
thought-
appreciative for you.
No, not that, because Trayvon's got to do it. We're gonna mute him before he goes into it. But I guess I was gonna have to be the one. It's all right. Go ahead, Trey. You finish what you were saying. Who did it? Are you saying something?
I said one about freaking Sherman.
It's
okay,
man.
I probably thought I didn't say freaking. I don't use negative words, guys.
We're challenging your moral compass.
Right this very minute.
You
anybody whose eyebrows, beard, and hair.
Sherman, when did you be? Hold up.
This dude's an idiot.
Sherman.
Yeah.
When did you become the chairman of the board?
Patrick, ask him which board is he the chairman of now, though.
This board.
Oh, we're a board. Wow.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I say we take a vote. Vote him out.
We can't vote him out. We can vote him out.
Just vote him out. Just move on to next week.
And if we Baptist in the state.
All right. Yeah, somebody's got to close.
All right, friends. Thank y'all so much for joining us tonight.
Check out my name.
Hey, real quick. What?
Oh, hold on. Wait, don't.
That boy spelled it wrong.
I'm confused.
Hey, I was just gonna say I love being black.
I'm starting my own group.
All right, everybody. We hope you guys have enjoyed us.
Brother Podcast.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on the Brothers Live podcast. You know, you can check us out if you didn't get to watch the entire segment. Some great conversation tonight. I want you guys to go check out our YouTube channel. Everything will be posted or loaded up by tomorrow morning. So I want you guys to go check that out, or you can just go back and watch it here on Facebook. Anyway, I want you guys to enjoy it. See us again on next Tuesday night. If you have any ideas that you'd like to share with us on possible topics, things of discussion, send that to us. Don't forget our segment that we normally do each week, and that is Ask the Brothers. We want you guys to send in some questions and, ask us those hard questions or those questions that you just need answers to. We're willing to answer those questions for you. All right. Thanks so much. Don't forget to like our page. We'll see y'all later. God bless you. Peace out.
Peace.
Aaron, say peace.
I already stopped the live stream.
I know. I'm just being ignorant. Let me turn this off. I'm done.
All right. Good job.